This week on What's Your Fantasy, we got the Week 13's waiver wire ads. Football's back. It's official. Kicks off this Thanksgiving. I'm excited. Peachy's excited. Let's get right down to it on What's Your Fantasy. What's going on, everybody out there? It's your host, the WayneBreezie, Crystal Peachy B in the place right here. We on What's Your Fantasy. This is week 13 of fantasy football, which means one more week.
One more week. That's it.
The playoffs begin.
Week 14 is the final week.
Okay, so week 15, the playoffs begin.
Yes.
So we got 2 more weeks. This week and week 14.
Oh, God.
And then it's on and popping, you know. Oh man! Breaking news: Daniel Jones is the quarterback. Will be a quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. I believe that's the team he chose. He wanted to be with, and I think they're working out that deal. Peachy, do you think Daniel Jones is somebody to look into, like being on this waiver wire ad with Sam Darnold? Because I don't know, man. Like that's weird. That's weird that he's going there.
It is weird. Right now he's on the practice squad. The funniest thing about all of it, Breezy, is I just read it and they said that right now he's on the practice squad. Someone could poach him off of the practice squad, like right now, if they wanted to. So they said that the Vikings need to like make quick with it and need to do and get him added because he's probably on there because they have to figure out who they're going to remove from their 53.
Yeah. God. Yeah. That means
because that would be hilarious if somebody.
But a team. Well, they can't poach him. They would have to offer him a deal, and he would have to agree to it. That's how it works. It's not poaching. It's I want to sign this player. The player has to agree to the deal. He's a free agent, so he can decline it. I think.
Oh, okay.
That's how practice squad players work, right? So like. If they're available for teams to pick up, I'm gonna go grab this person, but that person has to agree to the deal.
Now, okay.
Usually
that makes sense.
Usually it's players, you know what I'm saying, that ain't got no deal. So they see a long deal, they like, I'm going. I'm going.
It probably wouldn't be such a bad idea. I think that they're really wanting to develop this guy and. You know, they're optimistic about McCarthy, but you just never know how things go. Like us as 49er fans, we know how it goes. You think somebody's okay, and then it turns out that they're not. So,
yeah.
You know, and he's already had to have several surgeries that he didn't expect to have anyway. So that was a smart move for them getting him. And I would definitely consider him because Sam Darnold – he hadn't looked like the same Sam Darnold that he looked like earlier in the year. He's been getting popped a lot. So,
and if I'm not mistaken, Darnold signed a 1-year deal.
Yes.
And so for the Vikings, they can offer now a 1-year deal to Daniel Jones next year. Darnold will be gone. He'll be a free agent again. And they can allow J.J. McCarthy to come back. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, heal up. Come back full strong. They got 5 years with the kid, so there's no rush there. Exactly. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So let's go ahead and get down. Speaking of injuries, let's talk about the injury report. Is there anybody that that's significantly like out for the remainder of the season as of right now? And who you got on your injury report? So go ahead and take it away.
Okay. So Gardner Minshew, quarterback for the Raiders, he is out for the season with shoulder injury.
Yeah.
I really think that that's more of just stashing him, but okay, you know, because their seasons. Yeah, it was just kind of weird. The whole entire thing about it was kind of weird. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that's the only season-ending one that I have this week. Then we have the return of Trevor Lawrence. He's supposed to come back this week, so that'll help you guys because there's no bye weeks. That's the greatest news for fantasy ever. It's
16 games.
Especially with people having to make such a push like me who are really desperate. So now you have all of your players that you can work with now. So Aiden O'Connell, which was there, is on pace to play. So he had the thumb. They said his thumb's going to be okay. David Montgomery got hurt during the game, his shoulder, but he's going to be ready to play tomorrow. So that's good news. Brian Robinson, his ankle, he also hurt that during the game. They're going to monitor him. Washington's depleted with these running backs. So watch out for him and Eckler. Even though Eckler suffered a concussion, he does look good for this week because they're going to need a running back out there. And I know a lot of you guys probably have like at least Robinson. I know a bunch of people have Robinson. So that's definitely something to keep monitored. Here's a huge one that a lot of people have. Running back J.K. Dobbins has an MCL sprain. So he is going to be out for some time. So if you're looking for him to try to help you, it probably wouldn't be till like about 3-4 weeks down when you're in the playoffs, hopefully. You can bring him back then. Lions wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown. Has a knee that he hurt. Also, it's not practicing yet. And the crazy thing about this one, Breezie, is this just happened yesterday. So, like during practice, like it literally happened, popped up. Yes. I know Amon-Ra St. Brown is a big one.
And then, you know what's crazy about this? And I'm trying to say it in a way because I know they don't give a fuck about fantasy football. Yeah. But it just sucks because do you bench him because he plays on Thursday? If he played on Sunday, you can let it ride.
Exactly.
But he plays on Thursday night. Thursday day, 12:30 p.m.
Yes.
Continue, please. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I mean, you're absolutely right. Amon-Ra is going to be a big one. And it just don't look good, especially with it popping up like that. It just really doesn't. Then we have wide receiver Josh Downs, who has a shoulder. He is out for the week. Romeo Dobbs, concussion. It's looking bad for this week. It's not optimistic, they said, coming from Packer camp. Wide receiver Brandon Cooks is looking to make his return. He's been out since week 3. So that'll be a wide receiver to think about. And then wide receiver Cedric Tillman. He is suffering a concussion. Looks like he's going to be out. Tight end Jake Ferguson. Dallas is saying that looks like he's not going to make it because they play tomorrow. And that's what I got.
A lot of injuries. So this is where the waiver wire comes in. Trades are done. And so if you have any one of these players, you got to be careful because if you're trying to make a playoff push, if you're in the playoffs already, this doesn't really affect you. Like
exactly.
If you're undefeated, you got a couple of losses, you're good. But for those that are scrapping, like me, you're going to have to live on this waiver wire. And that's why we're here. That's why we're here. We're here to talk about some guys you might want to pay attention to off the waiver wire. Let's just do a quick recap. The top 10 scoring leaders from last week. You got running back Saquon Barkley, 46.2 points. I mean, the dude is just a phenomenon. He is everything we thought he was his rookie season. He's that and more at this point. Like, he's just really killing. He's leading running backs in rushing yards. He's catching out of the back. He's getting the targets. This is a guy, he's a PPR killer at this point. Jaden Daniels, quarterback from the Washington Commanders, 32.4 points. Number 3, Jordan Addison, wide receiver from the Minnesota Vikings. I know, Peachy, you were a little down because they quadruple covered Justin Jefferson. But if you had Jordan Addison like I do, he's probably sitting on your bench and you missed out on 30.2 points. Cortland Sutton, another sighting. I feel like this is his second sighting all year long. I don't know what the Denver Broncos are doing with Cortland Sutton, but he put up 29.7. Patrick Mahomes, this might be the first time he's made this list. And I didn't know he was Patrick Mahomes the second. So Patrick Mahomes the second, 28.8 points. I didn't know. Josh Jacobs just ran all over the 49ers, had 3 touchdowns. Had 3 touchdowns, finished number 6, 28.6. Tua Tagovailoa, 28.5 points. Good game from Tua. If you had Jonnu Smith, like we told you, you killed this week. All right. Jalen Waddle, signing for Jalen Waddle. Peachy, I don't have the cricket sound, I don't think, on there, but Tyreek Hill is dead.
I'm just like,
he's done in fantasy, man.
Yeah.
I don't know what am I supposed to? I drafted Tyreek Hill. I was like, I'm gonna pick him over Jamar Chase. I'm gonna pick him over whatever. and it's killing me softly. But good game for Jalen Waddle, 28.4 points, PPR. Number 9, Bucky Irvin. It's clear that he is the future of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as far as the running backs, 27.1 points. If you got my man Rashad White, still a good guy to have. I just don't know what to tell you what to do. Keep on your bench just in case something happens. If you want to do like me, I'm probably the only idiot that drafted Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. But those guys play. Now, the Buccaneers kind of do the same thing with Rashad White. They'll get to the goal line, give him the ball, he'll get the touchdown. So if you want to take a gamble and start both of them like I do, be my guest. That's on you. And then number 10, quarterback Chicago Bears, Caleb Williams. Best game probably all season, even though they lost, but he put up 26.9 points. Any surprisers or shockers on this list for you, Peachy?
The shocker to me is probably Caleb, because he's had a pretty down year in fantasy. I know, because he was my second quarterback. I didn't dropped him in like about 4 leagues. Still no regrets, because I have some ballers as my first quarterback. Thank God the bye week's over for one, because I know that they're going to play, so it's
Good
fine.
point.
But Caleb would have to be the shocker to me on here.
I think for me, I mean, I'm expecting Mahomes to make it. This is the first time. You might be right. You might be right. It might be a shocker to see Caleb Williams on this list. Even Jalen Waddle. He didn't really play football this year. I didn't even know he was still on the team, but he showed up this week, man. He did. He showed up big time.
That's a great. Yeah, that's a great analogy though, because it sucks, because now it's like, so what is Miami really doing? Because
they look like they're competing.
Dang. Well, yeah, but apparently it's not Hill. And that's crazy, because then people will go get Waddle, and then Hill will have Hill will come back and do it, whatever.
Right, I see what you're saying, but I don't think you'll be able to go get Waddle. Waddle's on everybody's roster.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and at this point, I don't think there's anybody you'll be able to pick up from the Miami Dolphins. But like I said, if you got Waddle, you're going to have to make that choice. You got to put him in. And if you got Hill, you got to start him too. I know Tyreek Hill's dealing with the wrist injury, right? Like some type of an injury.
Yeah, he had that injury that was made worse by what he went through. But he was already hurt before that.
Oh.
And then that just made it worse, yeah.
See, so that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if that's hindering him.
It could be.
It definitely started when Tua got injured. Like, everybody went down. Everybody went down. All right, let's get to these waiver wire ads for week 13. Look, the quarterback you want to get, and I know he's on a bunch of non-rosters. So, Caleb Williams, you might want to pick him up. I'm just saying, you might want to pick him up. Who did the Bears got this week? Let's see. Let's do a quick little refresher. All right, so the Bears got Detroit. Ooh. But you know what? It's a divisional game, and things happen differently in divisional games.
They really do. And games are a lot closer, and players just play different. It's just something about that. Now, for Caleb, I think that this is going to be the start of Caleb, because, they got the new people on the coaching staff. They seem to be letting Caleb just do what he did when he was at USC. So since they're doing that, that seems to be helping, because what do you know? The receivers came back to life. Like, we literally got to see some of the receivers. Keenan Allen, for one, came back to life. So maybe this is gonna be a brand new, start, a brand new Bears team. I know that offense looked a lot more live than I've seen them the whole entire year. That's for sure.
Yeah, we'll see what happens if they can find a way to run DeAndre Swift, get down to the goal line, hand it off to Roschon Johnson. Maybe they stand a chance. But if you can pick up Caleb Williams, you might want to get him on your bench, and you could start him this week. I think he's hot, and I think he's going to play well against the Detroit Lions. Believe it or not, call me crazy. It's what I think. Jalen Warren, running back from the Pittsburgh Steelers, put up 12.4 points last week. It seems like they're shifting from the Najee Harris
Yes.
situation. And this is another tough one to be in, though, Peachy, because it's like if you got Najee Harris, what do you do with Warren? Like, what do you do? Like, so the Steelers got Cincinnati. You got an AFC North battle. You're going to need a running back. So if you need a running back, I say get Jaylen Warren. He'd be a running back one.
Najee has been banged up a lot this year. And I think that Jaylen, being the more healthy out of the two, I think that Tomlin's going to go with them guys that are durable and are out there doing whatever. And Jaylen is definitely, I feel like that things are going to be eventually rolling off to him to be that running back one. So that's definitely a great get on the waiver wire. If you can get him, I would certainly pick him up.
Yeah, it's just really interesting, right? Because I'm sitting here looking at it at the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they're ranked fourth in scoring. They put up. It's weird because I feel like they don't get into the end zone a lot. They're also ranked fourth in, their defense is ranked fourth in scoring. Let me put that out there. Their offense is actually definitely struggling. So, yeah, I say get him. For some reason, he's the change of pace back. He's the gritty guy that the Pittsburgh Steelers need, depending on what the weather's going to be like. In Cincinnati, you're going to want somebody that can stumble, and get you yards as well as catches out of the backfield in PPR. So, Najee Harris is still going to get the start, but Jaylen Warren is going to be a good relief. You might want to pick him up if you're in need of a running back. Running back 2, Gus Edwards from the Los Angeles Chargers. You just talked about J.K. Dobbins being down for a few weeks.
Yes.
Edwards is going to get the nod. I don't know who they have spelling him, but this could be a chance for him to prove that he's a running back one out here in Los Angeles. What are your thoughts on Gus?
I completely agree with that, and that's a great one to put on the waiver wire as well because, JK is going to be down for some weeks. They do know that. Those MCL sprains, it sucks because JK was having such an amazing season.
What a good comeback, right? He would have been comeback player of the year for sure.
I know it. So, but Gus Edwards is definitely going to be the one to go with.
I like Gus, man. Good job. Get Gus if you can get Gus. Get Gus. Back to the Steelers. This has been an explosive playmaker down the field if they choose to get him the ball. Wide receiver Calvin Austin III. He put up 13.8 points last week. Again, they're playing a team in Cincinnati Bengals. Their defense isn't that great. So you might want to go ahead. Their pass defense isn't that great for sure. So you might want to go ahead and pick up Calvin Austin. It's been a good matchup this week for him. And possibly can get you some points. Any thoughts on the young speedster?
Only thoughts that I have is like you just said, he is the fastest wide receiver that the Steelers have. And he's awesome and out in space. He really is. Pickens has been covered a whole lot, of course, because he's the number one. So it's definitely, allows Austin to be able to break free. He has a very intelligent quarterback that understands that. So Calvin Austin is starting to come into his own in Pittsburgh. And I'm happy for him, and I'm definitely happy that he's on there because I might have to try to scoop him up myself this week because my wide receivers are hurt.
Oh, man, me too. Me too. Wide receiver Keon Coleman from the Buffalo Bills looks like he's going to be returning from an injury.
Of course he is.
They're playing the San Francisco 49ers. This is the rookie phenom that they drafted. I just feel like if you don't have him, pick him up. I feel like Allen and Coleman have a connection. And they're still trying to figure out the rapport of him and Cooper. They're still trying to build it. If Coleman is back and he's ready to go, I think this guy's going to put up double-digit points against the 49ers. What are your thoughts?
Yes, I agree with that. I do like Keon Coleman. He is really good. Fantasy-wise, I'm glad to have him back out there because I actually have him in one of my lineups. But biased, I'm not. I was hoping that he would be out one more week. But it looks like that all the Buffalo Bills skill players are now going to be miraculously healthy for this snow game.
Yeah, Sunday
night football.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be in prime time.
They're going to be locked and loaded. All right. He's going to get knocked out just like everybody else. Now, this is a tough one because if you're a Chiefs, if you're a guy with a Travis Kelce and you see Noah Gray cooking, this is the second time Noah Gray has had a cooked game. Travis Kelce has 0 cooked games this season, and Noah Gray has 2. The Kansas City Chiefs are playing the Raiders, and if I'm you, Noah Gray is going to be a guy you're going to want to pick up on the waiver wire. He led all the tight ends last week in fantasy points with 18.6. Kelce, I don't know if they're doubling him, bracketing him, whatever, but Kelce's no longer the man. Noah Gray is who Patrick Mahomes II is finding. Any thoughts on Noah Gray against these Raiders?
I'm so mad about this too because I have Kelce in like 4 leagues, and
Last
he
time I
is
drafted his
really,
ass.
really like let these leagues down. Noah Gray, like Breezie said, this is the second time that he's done this. The first time pissed me off, and then this one also pissed me off this time too, because it looks like that Kelce is just, there's too much attention being paid to him. Pat Mahomes has found another one that is very agile, by the way. And so there you go. And it looks like when Kelce's done, because I have a feeling that Kelce's going to be done here pretty soon, that Noah Gray is going to be tight end number 1 in Kansas City because they all love him. Every time he does something, they all like jump on him and everything. And that just lets me know that Kelce's time is almost up and Noah Gray is going to be the next one.
Interesting take on Noah Gray. If you got him in your pool of waiver wires, make sure you try to grab him. He's probably going to get double digits. You know what? It could be a battle of the tight ends this week. Noah Gray versus Brock Bowers.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, because I know you're starting Brock Bowers. If you got Brock Bowers, you're starting Brock Bowers. If you need a tight end, you might want to pick up Noah Gray. Out there. Flex. This guy's been in a flex for the past several weeks. And every week, he finds a way to get one big old explosive play down the football field. Like every week. So he's going to get you a touchdown and it's going to be for like 60 yards. Will Levis likes to throw the ball. And if you just need a guy that can get you some double-digit points opposed to having single-digit points, you might want to pick up wide receiver Nick Westbrook-Ikine from the Tennessee Titans. Any thoughts on my man?
I literally cannot think of any other one that I would want in that flex spot. Every week, it's been since we put him in the flex spot, since we talked about him, that he has just been doing what he needs to do in that spot. And you never know. The Titans have who this week?
The Titans have the Commanders.
Oh, so see, that's a really, really good spot for him because he may actually do better than just having the one. He may get 2.
That's true. Their secondary's not there, and there's no sign of Marshawn Lattimore. What a trade. They traded for Marshawn Lattimore.
Crazy. He's still not ready.
He's not playing. I can't make his stuff up, man, but you're probably right. This might be a good week but he just seems like more of an explosive play down the field type of guy. Sort of kind of like that kid from the Cincinnati Bengals. He has a last name that's hard to pronounce.
Ibajining. Yosevas.
Yosevas.
Yeah, Yosevas.
Right?
Yeah.
And so,
right.
they're just big playmakers. Him and the kid from the Colts, Alec Pierce. They're just big playmakers down the field. So, if they can get a big catch, big throw, and a touchdown, it's like 13, 14 points right there, whether they catch one for the rest of the game.
Yep.
You don't care. You're getting double digits in the flex. So, flex is just getting some extra bonus points.
Yep.
I'm going kicker Will Lutz this week. I know he put up 22 last week. But I like the Denver matchup, and I think he'll be out there kicking the ball a lot. Denver doesn't score a lot of touchdowns. They're going to be playing Cleveland. Cleveland, believe it or not, is going to make the game interesting because of that defense, because of Myles Garrett claiming he's the number 1, period. Like, it's going to be interesting to see how Bo Nix does. So if they get in the field goal range of Will Lutz, he could have another big day.
I like that.
Another big day. And the defense, Peachy, I mean, it's just the Bucs against the Panthers again. The Bucs 2 weeks in a row. If you didn't pick up the Bucs last week, they got you 10 points last week. Pick up the Bucs this week because now they're playing the Panthers. The Panthers are probably not going to be able to run the ball well because of this man right here, Vita Vea. That defense, Kalijah Kancey, they're a problem up front. And so they're going to look to take away the run. They're going to force my man Bryce Young to throw the ball a lot. And this could be a good day for the Tampa Bay secondary. So I kind of like Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense this week.
And not to mention that it looks like that Shaq Barrett, because he came out of retirement,
which
is
means he
also going to join them sometime soon too.
Wow.
So, man, what news for Tampa Bay?
What news for Tampa Bay?
To get that back. Yeah.
Excellent. Those are your waiver wire picks for week 13. All right, let us know what you guys think in the comment section of that. Peachy, before we dip up out of here, who's a guy that you must start and a player that you must sit this week? Let's do must sits, must starts, must sits.
Okay, so my must start is Rico Dowdle going against the Giants. The Giants on their defense, almost everyone is banged up that really matters, especially when it comes to their run defense. I like for Rico Dowdle tomorrow to have a day. So that's definitely my must start.
He better if the Dallas Cowboys want to stand a chance. My must start is Baker Mayfield against that Carolina Panthers secondary. They're pretty banged up too, and you could take advantage of J.C. Horn. He's like a penalty machine right now. Every time I see him on the football field, it's pass interference. He's gonna have to defend Mike Evans. I feel like Baker Mayfield will have a day against the Carolina Panthers. Who are you sitting must sit this week?
So my must sit is actually Amari Cooper.
Really?
I think that this 49ers secondary, going to the snow in Buffalo, going through everything, they've heard all the noise, they've heard all these different things of that. I think they are going to put the clamps on Amari Cooper. Just like most teams have actually done all season.
Don't let this be that one game. Please. Please don't let this be that one game.
So that's mine.
I'm going to go with a must sit. Whoever the quarterback is that's starting for the Raiders against the Chiefs, just don't play. Don't even start that quarterback.
Oh, yeah, Aiden O'Connell.
No, whoever it is. Don't know if it's going to be O'Connell. Don't know if it's going to be whoever.
I can't remember the other one.
Just don't start that quarterback against the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are a little teed off. Their defense is taking a little dip, and I guarantee you they're looking to get right against a divisional opponent. They're looking to get right. Well, guys, thank y'all so much for tuning in to What's Your Fantasy this week, man. This has been funny. I just, some of these matchups are just going through my head, and I'm just like, this is going to be a crazy game. Football should be exciting. You had exciting football in week 12. I'm only expecting nothing but exciting football in week 13 moving forward, and we'll be back next week on What's Your Fantasy. Hey, look, ruining dreams under pressure. Peachy be the one to bless ya, but don't test her. The queen reigns supreme, you know what I mean? Add the boy Breezie, Prince, like a king. When the two come together in any weather, they form a bond, stay tight in any measure. So it's my pleasure, the number one team. Let the world know what's your fantasy.